Right, so dear fellow Toastmasters, funny thing about a speech with the title Keep It Simple, it raises expectations immediately, and whatever I'm going to talk about coming few minutes about keeping it simple, you will instantly notice that my speech is not the best example of keeping a language simple and keeping a speech simple. In fact, I've never really been able to grasp that skill of talking in a clearly understandable way. I've always struggled with it. Now, for example, as a hobby, I'm a football trainer and coach, and I have to communicate to football players. And I'm very intellectual in my approach to football. I like all the tactics, the intricacies, the complexity. So I'm a bit of a football nerd in that sense. But most football players are not. And if you try to talk to them in nerd language, it just doesn't work. So I'm definitely not an expert at keeping it simple. Nor will I tell you how to do this evening. But I want to share with you a life lesson. And the origin of this life lesson is maybe a bit unexpected. Now imagine a football pitch, and for the guests this is a metaphor we use a lot. Eventually you'll get used to it. But imagine this football pitch. It's about 100 meters, there are 2 goals, 1 ball. Seems very simple. But then imagine 22 players, each with their roles, their positions. Where do you move, when do you pass, when do you play, when do you shoot, is it here or maybe a bit closer to the goal? All these possibilities and permutations, 1 ball but so many possibilities. Now if you take us away from the football pitch, into a house, maybe into someone's room, maybe your room or your room, and we see you sit behind a desk preparing for your speech, and a blank sheet of paper, totally blank without anything on it, or a blank screen these days, and you prepare for your speech. What do you say? There's so many words to choose from. Will it be informative? Will it be funny? Will it be persuasive? How will your body language be? Again, so many possibilities. Now back to the football pitch. When you hear coaches call out on the sidelines to help their team play, to guide them, there's one expression you will hear most of all. And that's, keep it simple. I share with you a quote from a legendary footballer, and maybe at the same time a legendary philosopher, namely Johan Cruyff, who said, "Football is simple, but the most difficult thing to do is to play it simply." And I offer for your contemplation this expression: life is simple, but the most important thing in life is to live simple. Or may I even say to simply live. Now what do I mean by this? These days it's so ingrained and engraved in our society, in our culture, in our lifestyles that we aim for achievements, possessions, we grasp for opportunities, we think of life and its possibilities as something that can be attained, can be reached out for. So when we imagine this person sitting behind their desk preparing their speech, or this footballer on the pitch, we have this natural inclination of making things a bit more complex than they in truth really are. We chase after the possession of experiences rather than experiencing experiences themselves. We project instead of connect. Now one instance for example where this happens a lot, I work in a hospital as a spiritual carer, which means in the hospital I speak to patients and their families, and sometimes also in really difficult circumstances, when family members have to say goodbye to the patient who is dying. So sometimes we're asked to offer support, comfort for these families. Now it sounds enormously complex, doesn't it? And kind of like the person who has to write a speech in front of his audience and thinks about what do I say, how do I say it. So too these spiritual carers, they have to meet this family and they think about what do I say and how do I say this. And the best thing to do, I've learned from experience, is in these instances also to keep it simple. But what do spiritual carers do? Even the most experienced ones, they meticulously plan what they're going to say beforehand, before they meet these people. They plan their advices, plan how the family can move ahead. So it's all planned, and then they meet these people, and then they're totally clueless. They will say things like, "I know how you feel." Stupid, of course. Or they say things like, "Grief is a difficult process. Can I maybe tell you about the steps this process has?" And it will always be 3, 5, or 7 steps. You know it. Or they say things like, "This is sad, but life goes on." In other words, these people, they did not manage to connect with these people. They were all busy with projection. Now my approach is a bit different. I don't plan ahead. I just go to these people and I simply say, "This is difficult." And I say, "I will not understand what this moment means for you. The future is obscure, it's unclear. What's on your mind? What does this person mean to you? What are your memories?" And then you have a connection. Why? Because I kept it simple. I kept it true. I connected with the moment, with the people, and most importantly, I connected with myself. I spoke my heart, I spoke my mind. In other words, I connected with these people. Life is not a project, it's a connection. And Johan Cruyff was brilliant at this. Whenever you hear him talk about football, it's never volumes of words about tactics and everything. It's very simple expressions, like, if you want to win, just score one more goal than the other team. Now, he was brilliant with this. Why? Because football for him was a connection. Connection with the ball. You don't have the ball, you play it. You connect with your teammates, the ball with yourself. So when we go back to that person in their room, preparing for a speech, remember this. A speech also is not a project. It's a connection. Keep it simple, keep it true. Connect with the people you're speaking to. Connect with the moment, and most importantly again, connect with yourself. Speak your mind and speak your heart. So speaking in Cruyffian philosophy is simple, but the most difficult thing sometimes is to simply speak. Thank you for your time.